Hey Gemini, welcome to your monthly reading for April. We're going to use the Soul Purpose cards, which forms a cross to the foundation of the energies of the months within you, the 4 elements that balance you. You're experiencing, that one wants to come out. So it's going to balancing, it's the balance card, Gemini. And then I'll use the tarot to clarify each week, okay, which might tell a little bit of a story. They're ultimately about connecting into the energies you may or may not be experiencing when it comes to subconscious healing. So it could be about your healing journey, your soul purpose. And you know what, I do find that a lot of the readings this week, the weeklies and the monthlies, have been quite deep in that essence, which is actually the work that I love to do. So I'm all about soul purpose, connecting into other empaths, sensitives and intuitives, going that deep dive in intuitive readings, you know. We are more than just the superficial. I'm not going to say superficial because it's important. It's important to have, you know, it's funny how I connect into the energy of the zodiac. Whenever I do Gemini, I am talking a mile a minute. When I do Capricorn, I'm really serious. When I'm doing Aquarius, I'm really weird. Yes. I love all the zodiacs. You each play a character. You are all archetypes. You know, if it was a party, think of them as archetypes, different personalities that are around the room, wearing their own thing, drinking their own unique drinks, talking about the topics they talk about. When you experience another individual, everyone's different, you know. Same too, when I intuitively pick up on a zodiac, whether this is your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, I'm picking up on the vibration of your zodiac. And the intention with my intuitive readings are that I connect into the strongest frequencies out there that might be seeking guidance and inspiration at this time when it comes to the Gemini zodiac, okay? So whether it, like I said, whether it's your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, the Geminis on a soul level that are looking for guidance, looking for inspiration, I connect into that, which presents as a storyline, all right? If it doesn't resonate, leave it. Go check out your other zodiac. Go check out another YouTube video. You know, this is not about providing advice that you need to stick to, because what I'm about is ultimately you connecting into the higher power within. That is your empowerment. That is your wisdom and intuition. It is just a story. May it give you some inspiration and guidance at this time, some clarity, confirmation more than anything, because that's what this is about. What is going on? Balance. What is in the past? Grief. We'll talk more about this. What crowns? Honesty. What is below? Change. What's likely to happen next? Empathy. Do you know a Taurus? Because you've actually got similar cards. However, Gemini, you might even have Taurus in your chart. This month in April is all about the energy of balance. What does balance look like? Are there new definitions of what balance looks like? Because we've had to ultimately press pause on what our mainstream world looked like, our everyday routines. And now balance is a whole new thing, you know, like where are we bringing into balance? If this is for those that are connecting into more practical elements, are we bringing into balance old goals with new realities and restrictions we're finding ourselves under? I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So obviously I'm perhaps connecting into Geminis out there that are not yet quite seeing their circumstances to their benefit. I do feel like there's a reflective period here on offer for some that might not be quite ready to connect into the energy and deal with grief. So the reason I know Gemini, I just, it's always well and good to talk about it, you know, but when we have to feel things, it's another level, isn't it? Grief, Gemini. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. And you know what? This is in the past. I'm connecting in Geminis that ultimately love to keep themselves so busy that when we have nothing else to do but look at things in a balanced way, because we are sitting with ourselves, we do this natural state of reflection is happening for so many in isolation, because we can't keep ourselves busy with our regular day job, rushing through a maddening routine. We suddenly find ourselves with a lot of time to contemplate the journey to date. Something has to be brought into balance here, Gem, and it is about incorporating the lessons of grief, the grief from the past perhaps that you have not integrated into your acceptance of and balanced, all right? It's about getting raw and real with yourself and getting honest about what has caused you grief in the past, whether it's because of the lack of honesty from others, whether it's because of the lack of honesty that you've brought to the table or haven't been honest about the grief that you are carrying, whether you are or not okay. I hope you are reaching out to other people. If you find yourself alone at this time in isolation, I hope you do know that you have others that you can reach out to, okay? Underneath all this though, Gem, you do know that change is needed, and perhaps change has been needed for a long time for a key situation, a key experience, a key reflection when it comes to, I honestly think you can apply this to relationship, family, or career. I think I'm talking to Geminis that have known they've ultimately wanted something to just balance, that is genuinely based on empathy, that actually represents genuine change. But what hasn't happened, because perhaps we've been too busy, is not being honest with ourselves and others about the need for that, about how we're actually, have we even had time to think about it, Gemini? Have we even had time to think about what ultimately needs to change, what we're carrying when it comes to grief, you know? Any loss, okay, and this doesn't have to be anything deep, dark from the mysterious past. It could be just the loss of material circumstances and current changes that we're all in. You know, I do feel I'm connecting to Geminis that feel like there's a balance that's needed here because we're suddenly out of work, and you know, like that is the case for many of us, and we're finding ourselves on this new ground that feels completely like uncharted territory, desperately needing balance, you know. So have empathy for yourself, have empathy for your circumstances and the circumstances we all find ourselves in. And you know, being honest with ourselves is ultimately about being realistic too, okay? And if you're finding it difficult connecting to others at this time, you know, it's about embracing empathy, because everyone does deal with it in a different way. Everyone deals with crises in a different way, Gemini. Okay. I do feel for the Geminis that are connecting into some deeper storylines here. You know, I think this opportunity that you are currently in is inviting you in to a chance to truly balance the past, heal some grief, okay? When you get raw and honest with yourself about your feelings and your role in certain situations and the way the past has panned out, because the invitation is to empathy. Because the opposite of empathy is judgment, obviously, and which all ultimately keeps ourselves separate from others. And balance, the only way to think of a seesaw, the only way to truly balance our life with another, with a situation, is equal give and take, equal reciprocity. You know, if it was a seesaw, it needs to weigh the same on each end. And even if it didn't, you can still use the strength of what grounds you, your power, your ability to navigate the situation. You can use the muscles in your leg to help the other balance, or to help achieve balance, which is what the collective wants, which is what the connection wants. And that connection can be between you and another Gemini. It can be between you and a challenge. It could be between anything, you know. What is needed in order to balance is empathy, and seeing that it is more than just you. There's someone else on the other side of that seesaw. There's something else on the other side of that seesaw that is inviting you to be empathic towards its existence. But people deal with things in their own way. They might not have realized they can use their feet too, you know. They might not have realized that if they just shifted back a little bit, it might help the whole seesaw momentum. They might not have realized that kicking so much out of fear is causing all this movement and we're not getting any balance. You know, that seesaw story is relevant to someone out there. Someone that wants balance in a situation, in a connection. This time, this month, ultimately is about getting honest, bringing yourself back into balance through the invitation to empathy and seeing another from a different point of view. Because deep down you do want change, Gemini. You want you fundamentally want something to change. You want a circumstance to change. You want your feelings to change about the past. You definitely want to remove grief when it comes to actions and people from the past, losses from the past. What did you lose that ultimately is still a grief that you're carrying within? That is now asking you to come back into balance with yourself, you know, and having empathy for yourself for holding on to that grief too. Because that's what we know, that's what we do as human beings. You know, we don't know how to process things sometimes because we're so busy fulfilling these lifestyles that ultimately when life goes pause like it has and we all find ourselves with so much time to reflect, we can actually really get to the nitty-gritty of who we are and what our motivations are, what we're holding on to, the visions and goals and dreams that are no longer relevant. Okay, you can go as deep or as light as you like this month, Gemini, because I feel like I'm connecting into a Gemini that's dealing with some deeper stuff, and I feel like I'm also dealing with a Gemini that's dealing with physical stuff in the sense that, you know, coming back into balance when it comes to changing circumstances and feeling grief around the sudden changes that you find yourself in, inviting you into empathy. Okay, getting honest with yourself about the realistic goals that can be achieved this month. It's being realistic about what can be achieved and kicked as far as what a goal looks like. Today, success might just mean that you got to have a nap and you genuinely woke refreshed. You bought toilet paper because there's so little out there. Trying to find the humour. Maybe balance is humour, Gemini. I'll use the tarot to break up the 4 weeks of your month, which will ultimately tell a bit of a story about how you're feeling, what you might be dealing with in that certain week, and suggestions around energies there, okay? Embodying the Empress as you embark and manifest a new journey. Holy crap, I love that. Let me just finish. This is a beautiful month. If you, let me just finish. This is a beautiful month if you truly get raw and real with the grief that needs to go. This is your element. You are charging ahead. This month is powerful for you as you actually leading to your birthday month, all right? You guys kick off in June. Watch what you can achieve starting this month. And I know we are suffering restrictions. We are suffering a massive change in circumstances for many. Let me just tell a story. Embody the Empress energy. This is the role that you have as a mother, the role that you want as a mother. This is you embodying all elements of the queens that come before the Empress, okay? You are more than just your air element, Gemini. You are also, on many levels, you are water, which is emotions. You are fire, which is drive, okay? You are earth, which is practical. And the Empress embodies all four. She is intelligent, she is nurturing and emotional, she is practical with her success. You are wanting to tick off some serious goals here. You are wanting to experience that energy in yourself. You are wanting to embody it for others so that they feel nurtured and strong too. I feel like I'm talking to a Gemini that's manifesting a new beginning when it comes to what it is to be a mother, what it is to feel accomplished in all elements and quadrants of your life, regardless if you are a mother or not. What are you manifesting? This is a huge first week of April for you. And I think I'm connecting into the Geminis that are really embracing this, okay? And wanting this. The Empress, the Magician, the Fool. The only thing missing, this is consecutive. 0, 1, 3. The only thing missing is the High Priestess, which is the higher spiritual principle of the Empress. You know what? I'm going to even say connecting to your intuition. Even though there's not, yeah, there is the star. Connecting to your intuition this month, Gemini. There's consecutive movement here. This is growth. This is the steps up. 0, 1, 3. Okay, something that is missing is 2. That might be symbolic of partnership. It might be the grief that needs to be let go of when it comes to a partnership. That might be the balance that is necessary when it comes to 2, balancing 2 elements within you, balancing the energy between 2. Look at things from a higher order. Look at things from spiritual principles. I think that's relevant. I do see you're reviewing, so I'm also talking to Geminis that are reviewing the success or not, or the progress that has been halted when it comes to what was looking like a successful career. It was really starting to take shape, and then suddenly, boom, life happened. But you know what? Maybe that happens because of divine order. You're in reflection mode under the Seven of Coins. You're reflecting on what you have and haven't achieved. Don't make no mistake, there is every opportunity for you to still experience success, but I think this pause was ultimately, Gemini, it was ultimately about you connecting into the energy of empathy, bringing into balance. It's like getting back to the blueprint of those original goals. I think maybe this role, for some Geminis I'm talking to, needs to be brought into balance with your career. Maybe on some level you are like, I'm spending too much time at work. I need to spend more time with my kids. And you know what happens? Whammo, we manifest it. Life suddenly goes, hey, everyone has to stay home with their kids. That's how it works. When we put our intentions out there, when we manifest, when we speak, you know, the word of creation starts with us. It's internal. And Aquarius might be relevant for you. All right? There might be an opportunity here for you to review your finances and business opportunities under the current circumstances that are ultimately gifting you with an opportunity. Check your weekly reading. That just made me feel like it sounds familiar. This time was made for you, Gemini. I also want to tell you to now watch Aquarius too. Maybe you identify as an empath, starseed, healer, intuitive, whatever, the sensitive, okay? Maybe you are connecting into this age of Aquarius energy that's coming through if you want to take things to that higher view, Gemini. There's an opportunity here for you to review the path you are on when it comes to tangibly building a future of security. That's more than just money, okay? Because I think what's happening as April kicks off is you're really manifesting that from the 0 point energy, when life presses pause, you're really manifesting a future that's going to sustain you and nurture you. You're manifesting dreams and goals that are going to hold you safely within their womb. You are manifesting a project that you can perhaps launch 9 months from now. I'm also connecting into Geminis that might even be pregnant 9 months from now. Because, you know, when we're all in ISO, there's that risk because all that fun activity can be happening. Walking away from loss and ultimately finding what is your home when it comes to emotional mastery. I think when it comes to the energy of grief, Gemini, you are walking away from a loss, a connection that didn't work, a marriage that didn't work, a career that didn't work out, career goals that might have had to be put on pause, and really coming into balance. And balance invites us into emotional mastery, just to hang up your swords, just for now, just for this time, just for you. This is about retreating into all that you can do with what is in front of you and being realistic, okay, when it comes to what can be achieved. I'm talking to Geminis that are push. They're pushing through career goals and frustrated with circumstances perhaps. This is an opportunity for you to rest. And maybe on some level, like I said, when it comes to the Geminis that I was connecting into that are wanting time with their children, you know, when we're like, God, I'm so tired, my career's really, I'm busting my balls here. When we are invited into rest, it's because we've needed it on some level. So I think it will also give those Geminis I'm connecting into a chance to really master their emotions when it comes to the grief they've experienced, when it comes to the loss they've experienced, okay? You might be dealing with a water sign, okay? But this is also being reserved in your emotions too. Whether you need to balance that out on either end of the seesaw, okay? I do feel that I'm connecting into Geminis that are ultimately dealing with releasing a grief. This is when all masks are off. When we are honest, okay, when someone is honest with us about motivations, about what they need in order for balance, what they need when it comes to change, what we need, Gemini, about having empathy for another person's point of view despite the fact that it might hurt us, having empathy for self because we've ultimately trusted and been betrayed. This is the heartbreak card, but I feel I'm talking to Geminis that need to put down their masks when it comes to the pain you are holding, when it comes to how unbalanced perhaps your reality has been, not to your satisfaction. And despite the fact you were wanting change so much, you weren't able to see the wood for the trees. I keep seeing the wood for the trees, okay? This time is bringing you to that. This time is bringing you to that. It's about releasing the guilt of things not perfectly working out. Inviting yourself into empathy for self first, Gemini. Letting go of the heartbreak or a disappointment that's happened in the past when it comes to connections not working the way they should have. This is an original vow. This is an original vow. The Two of Cups is emotional connection, okay? I was hopeful about a connection starting with emotional reciprocity. I was hopeful about it, but then suddenly I found out it wasn't what I thought it was. I'm also connecting into Geminis that I feel like there's some sort of balance. Because I'm picking up on the mother energy here, right? Okay. I'm picking up on Geminis that are perhaps needing to come into balance with a connection that might have sparked motherhood that didn't come to fruition the way you had wanted, whether you are the mother or the father. And I'm talking to Geminis that are ultimately needing to get honest in their current connection because the original vows need to be readdressed so that you ultimately feel hopeful again. And that's what this time is about. We are in isolation, away from our mainstream routine, keeping ourselves busy, away from our energy of grief and disappointment, knowing that we need to get raw and honest with ourselves and bring things into balance, ultimately wanting that, Gemini, but then keeping busy. I just keep feeling I'm connecting into this Gemini that knows they want change. They know they want something to fundamentally change, but they've also been busy with the physical and material aspects of goal kicking, living life, and choosing to feel inspired or driven by these material goals. What is your sustenance at this time? Because if that gets taken away, what sustains you from the inside, Gemini? What is your guiding star when this doesn't exist in your life? And I get it, when we are raising children, when we have a family, we're ultimately doing that career, we're doing this for other people because that's our guiding principle, that's our motivation, is love. But underneath, we're also carrying guilt because we've got to drop them off to daycare and school and go kick those goals, and we're feeling guilty because we're not spending as much time with them. And I feel like I'm picking up on Geminis that are really balancing things out at this time. Really balancing and going back to the original vows. And this, I always see the Two of Cups as us getting square with ourselves, especially because you've had the emotional mastery card. The King of Cups is emotional mastery. It's emotional intelligence. Feeling brave enough, because I know you're an air sign. You probably don't even retreat into your thoughts too much. I know you do, but you're very external in it. You know, you love communicating, you love talking things out, even if they haven't solidified within you yet. This month is about going within and solidifying that, but then going deeper still, because when we are at rest, it ultimately gives us a chance to accept the losses of the past, our role in it, their role in it, come to a form of mastery, emotional acceptance over our grief when it comes to our losses. And going back to the original vows, all masks are off here. We get to talk about heartbreak, betrayal, in order for us to feel hopeful again for what can be, Gemini. And when we are in that space, what you're walking into is empathy. Empathy for self, empathy for the journey, empathy for the choices of others, despite the fact that those choices felt like betrayal. Empathy for what hasn't manifested in your life, for what you haven't yet mastered. Genuine empathy is about getting right within ourselves emotionally. Being honest about what what is and isn't working for us in connection, in life, in how I feel about my life, and what emotionally sustains me, what my guiding principles are when it comes to security, to success. Moving towards emotional mastery, Gemini. 2-2. 22. I still haven't done the April 4th stuff on the Facebook page. All right, Gem. 22 is the master teacher. Life is teaching you something here this month about what's crossing you, what is forming the foundations of your soul's purpose, lessons, emotional mastery, okay? Genuinely connecting into empathy. Check out the Capricorn reading for this week if you haven't. I talk about power, self-power, and there's a very big difference between power and empowerment, okay? Which all ties in. Because when we step into empathy, we are empowered by genuine reciprocity, that equal balance, the seesaw. Life will then balance us. We will feel balanced in life. We don't feel like we have to carry or push too much and keep experiencing this imbalance. The master teacher energy, the 22 energy, is life is teaching us something about what this is. How are you breaking your own heart by not being honest with yourself in your needs, in what you need to feel balanced? How are you breaking your own heart when it comes to the change you deeply desire within to seek? How are you keeping your own heart broken by, perhaps not balancing out the grief and seeing it from a whole new way that has happened? Okay. 22. This is very much connected into empathy for others, okay, and a situation that hasn't been in balance for a while. It could even be a past situation that you never balanced out because you just let it go and that was it. Perhaps always embodying this energy, Gemini, where you are charging ahead, away from things and towards things, the newest thing. And when we continually charge towards new relationships, it doesn't give us time to process the grief and genuinely connect into empathy and the emotional mastery that is the closing and balancing of the chapter just gone, the relationship just gone. Why are we always rushing into the new? Does the new satisfy a gap that exists? Does it replace pain with love? Does it replace a need to heal with ignorance? That's the themes of this month, is about getting honest with yourself, bringing everything into balance, moving towards empathy, Gemini, where life is teaching us the mastery of that lesson, okay? I'm not going to have much room on my little camera to do these videos, so I'm keeping the monthlies at half an hour. I hope you found some resonance, balance, empathy, honesty, change, healing from grief. Okay? Thanks for stopping by, Gemini. See you next month.